I don't know if you guys can tell, but I am 7.5 months pregnant. Yeah. It's very rare and unusual to see a female comic perform pregnant because female comics don't get pregnant. Just try to think of one. I dare you. There's none of them. Once they do get pregnant, they generally disappear. That's not the case with male comics. Once they have a baby, they'll get up on stage a week afterwards, and they'll be like, guys, I just had this fucking baby. That baby's a little piece of shit. It's so annoying and boring. And all these other shitty dads in the audience are like, that's hilarious. I identify. And their fame just swells because they become this relatable family funny man all of a sudden. Meanwhile, the mom is at home chapping her nipples, feeding the fucking baby, and wearing a frozen diaper because her pussy needs to heal from the baby's head, shredding it up. She's busy.
It's so sexist when people ask me, well, if you're here, then who's taking care of the baby? Who the fuck do you think is taking care of the baby? The TV is taking care of the baby, okay?
I'm just waiting for the right moment to become a housewife financially, you know? I want my husband to get us to a certain point financially. I want to get to the point as a couple where I can comfortably afford sliced mango. I'm talking about that Whole Foods mango, that $10 a box Whole Foods mango that was sliced by white people. That's the kind of income bracket I'm striving for. That's when you know you've made it. When you're eating mango that was sliced by a dude named Noah. I want Noah mango, Rebecca kiwi, Danielle pineapple. You know what else I want? I want to be able to take a stroll on a sidewalk, see a quarter, and just keep on walking. Like a princess.
Our nanny is 62 years old. Yes, I would never accept anything younger than 62 years old. If you are hiring a 25-year-old pretty young thing to be your nanny, you a dumbass. Do you not read People magazine? You don't know what's up? That's inviting a marriage grenade into your home. When you have a newborn baby, your marriage is very weak because you're both stressed out, you look like shit because you don't shower no more, you're resentful of each other. Whose idea was it to bring this new roommate into the world? Your marriage is very vulnerable and easy for an outsider to invade and colonize. If we had hired a 25-year-old man who was not ugly, great with my daughter, and said yes immediately to every chore I asked him to do with a positive attitude, oh, you best believe that I would eat the shit out of his butthole. Every day. Every day would be an all-day nanny butthole buffet. I don't care if his 25-year-old butt cheeks got all nervous and clenched up and closed on my face like elevator doors. I would get in there and just... like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. lately, I have been ruminating a lot over this one time I hooked up with this dude, and in the middle of kissing, I felt the responsibility to stop and say, hey, I should really let you know now before we go any further that I'm on my period. And he was like, oh, well, then let's make a fucking mess, Allie. To this day, that is the most romantic thing anybody has ever said to me. I think about it when I feel down and ugly and no good. All I have to do is remember that there was once a man out there who was willing to yank out my tampon and replace it with his dick. It made me feel beautiful. Beautiful! There is nothing more empowering and truly feminist than what that man said that day. That is straight up hashtag I'm with her.
When my husband and I were trying to have a kid, a lot of people were like, oh my God, that's so hot. You guys doing a lot of fucking? No, dude, that's shit you do in your 20s, okay? When you're in your 30s and you've been trying to get pregnant for a while, it gets very clinical. You pee on these ovulation strips that tell you when the eggs are dropping. It tells you when it's Easter time. And I would only fuck him when it was Easter time. Outside, it was like only 4 days out of the month. And outside of that, I would be like, we're not fucking. I need you to save it. I want your sperm to be as pent up and as angry and rapey as possible, so that when they come out, it's like, release the Kraken, eh? And they just come out like a bunch of angry refugees escaping a dictatorship, you know? And, yeah, and most of the time, like, we wouldn't even have sex because I was so tired when I would come home and see the smiley face on the ovulation strip, and I'd be like, okay, it's go time. And I would just give my husband a hand job most of the time, and he would close his eyes immediately. I know what that means, okay? When somebody closes their eyes during sex, it's not because they're in such ecstasy with you that they need to close their eyes. When somebody closes their eyes during sex, it's because they're literally trying to shut the image of your face out of their head and instead project two Latina lesbians that they saw earlier that day on RedTube onto the back of their eyelids. Which is fine by me, because then he doesn't have to see the expression on my face that says, please hurry the fuck up. And then when he was about to finish, I could always tell, because the indication is very universal when a man is about to finish. It's when they get that stupid ass look on their face where they look like they just got bit by a zombie. Just and then because we're hippies, I'd be like, hey, please look me in the eye and remember to come with intention, okay? And then I would jump on him and hold onto his neck, and I would just twerk the shit out of him. And do some of this shit that I learned in Atlanta. Ha, 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 ha. And then I would turn upside down immediately afterwards to make sure all of that Harvard nectar would just drain inside of me. That's right, because I don't want to work anymore.